Hello everyone and welcome to another tunnel video. This is basically an accompanying video, which is often the case, to every disused station number 12, Stoke to Market Drayton. We were aware of the existence of 4 tunnels that were along this line. So we thought we'd try and explore what is left of any of those tunnels, see if they were still in existence and what we could see and if we could get inside them. So just a quick bit of history about the line before we delve on into it. So the line was opened effectively as a branch to serve some of the collieries from Stoke across the Newcastle Tunnel line and eventually down to Silverdale. That was in the 1850s. However, in the early 1860s, the North Staffordshire Railway wanted to extend the line effectively to be part of a broader network. And they got parliamentary approval in 1864 to build a 12.5 mile extension down to Market Drayton, which effectively scuppered some of the plans of GWR to reach Manchester, I believe. Not 100% sure on all those details. So we did the line from Market Drayton up to Stoke. So effectively we were looking for, in the order, Keel Tunnel, Silverdale Tunnel, Hartshill and Newcastle. So you join us at Keel Tunnel. Keel Tunnel was a straight tunnel, 321 yards long. There's a lot of water there, isn't there?
Sorry.
Right, so we are now...
Rebecca is now stripping off.
Rebecca's stripping off. We're right above the tunnel. Probably the hedge line there. So the entrance, we can't quite see it, is just there, down there. We've seen a couple of ways in where there's no fence at all, back further down there. So we're just going to check out up here first, just in case we've missed anything obvious. It's so close, we're on a public right of way, we're so close to the right of way, we just want to make sure there's nothing really obvious, because a lot of people have been into this tunnel. Looks fairly safe, so we're just going to make sure that there's no obvious way down before we go from the other side again. Gates open, no sign of a lock or anything. Have a look inside. There's some very, very odd stick shape, Blair Witch type chisel. Right, so wooden sleepers, track well raised. I think it was built for double track and this bit was only ever single, right?
I would guess so. It's very odd shaped, this tunnel, isn't it? Because it looks like it ought to be double track.
Yeah, it was built for, that's what I'm saying, it was built for double track. But this looks, I mean, it looks dead straight. The track itself looks dead straight. So I'd say the track hasn't been moved in any way because it looks dead straight. But I did read on that Forgotten Relics that it had slewed. But maybe that was a Silverdale Tunnel instead. So anyway, this is the Keel Tunnel. 300 yards long, 321 yards long, I can't remember. We'll do that at home. Let's have a little bit of a walk. So we made it to the southern end. A couple of sleepers on the track. Not quite sure why. Lots more graffiti this end, interestingly. Lots more graffiti this end, which is odd, isn't it? Okay, southern entrance also complete. We made it through quite easily, quite sensibly. Again, gate open, no lock on this end as well. Okay, so tunnel number 2 was Silverdale Tunnel. We arrived at Silverdale on the second morning of filming as there was a park run happening, and we had no idea whether we could get into this or not. It was obviously in part of the town of Newcastle, Stoke and that area, so we assumed that you probably wouldn't be able to get into it. We assumed because it was quite urban, it may well be blocked off. Silverdale Tunnel was still used up until, I want to say, 1998. There's a lot of videos.
Wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, there's a lot of videos online of the old freight trains going from the Silverdale colliery. They would obviously go up to Silverdale. They would reverse, or not reverse, but go back down to Madeley, and then they would do a swap around. The engine would swap around and go back out onto the main line. There's plenty of videos. Just have a quick Google of that or YouTube of that, and you'll see them. In particular, there's one where there's a few Class 6s been filmed. Anyway, so the tunnels of Keel and Silverdale were used up until 1998. So this is Silverdale Tunnel. This is what we expected to find yesterday in Keel Tunnel, and what I mean by that is okay, one track here and plenty of space obviously for another track, and that was what we thought the tunnels were built for. They're built for double tracks. Obviously this one is clearly on the left hand side. The curiosity about Keel Tunnel is the track appeared to be in the middle, pretty much the middle, right? Now we read on Forgotten Relics that the track had been
That's what you said.
The track had moved due to waterlogged, that sort of thing. Oh, we don't think that's the case, because it was straight as a die, wasn't it? It was properly straight. Some of the sleepers had moved tiny bit, but the actual track was as straight as a die and almost in the middle of the tunnel, which we found really strange. But this tunnel, certainly, this is exactly what we expected to find with Keel as well, where it's clearly on one side, room for another should be needed. I don't know if they did have 2 tracks in it, but it doesn't look like it, because there's no sleeper indentations, is there?
It's just flat.
Well, come quite a way into the tunnel, just have a look around. Nothing much to report other than what we said at the start. One track going all the way through it, and obviously that goes down to Madeley. Recesses, but the recesses haven't got white lines, unlike the Keel Tunnel. Maybe there's more, perhaps, I don't know. So a few questions about this tunnel. The gates. It adds more questions to Keel Tunnel because of the line. It'd be interesting to know if anything's going to happen, because those gates look like the ones on when you go to a place like Peak District on a Monsell Trail, where they close them at certain times. Bath tunnels, that sort of thing. So, right, we're going to head back out, and I've no idea what the next tunnels are called. Newcastle and Hartshill. So a quick Google of this and you'll find out that they are no longer in existence, and they've been built on top of, but we still wanted to go and have a look. We still wanted to see the area, see if there's any earthworks left, any embankments, etc., to see where they were and where they went, to see if that was obvious. Okay, so in order for us to have a look at the two tunnels, Newcastle and Hartshill, in a bit more detail, it's really useful to have a look at the National Library of Scotland's side-by-side map feature. So first of all, the western portal, which is just here for the Newcastle Tunnel. So, as you'll see, Newcastle Station just there in the park that we visited. Across the King Street into here, there was a huge embankment that went into this western portal. So whilst we're at this stage now, it's useful to know, obviously if you live in Albert Street, you may not have realised, but you have a tunnel underneath if you live in that particular section there. So John Street, pretty much the end of John Street there would have been the tunnel entrance. So let's flip over to Google Maps, because Google Maps has a really useful feature for this area of the country in the 3D feature. So click on 3D and we'll find John Street, which I think is that one there. Zoom in, and there it is, John Street there. So this gives us a really good idea of the topography of the area, so we can face that way. So now we're facing east, and the tunnel entrance probably about 20-30 feet at least lower than that, but right there, that building, I think that building is the probation service. So literally just there in the car park at the end of John Street would have been the western portal for Newcastle Tunnel. So flip back out of that, pop it back on north and south, zoom back out, and have a look on side-by-side maps again, and we'll follow the tunnel along now to this middle section here. So that's the eastern portal of Newcastle Tunnel. That's a western portal of the next tunnel, which is a relatively short one, the Hartshill Tunnel. First thing we're going to do is have a quick look. We'll come back to this middle embankment in a minute, but let's have a quick look at the eastern end of Hartshill. So this is where the station would have been built soon after this map was drawn up, and I believe Hartshill Station was just here. But let's flip back to Google Maps. Zoom out and find that entrance, which would be here. I think there's some building work going on now. Flip onto the 3D, and again we're looking at this point here. Spin it around so we're facing west towards the tunnel. Get lower, zoom in. Right, this is such a good feature of Google Maps, it really is. Everything is in such good detail here. So we're looking just about west now. Tunnel entrance here where the mouse is, again probably 20-30 feet below this section of land, under here, under the road, and came out obviously in the embankment there, which is a park. We visited that park and we'll show you some clips of that in a moment. But what I really wanted to have a look at was the topography of the area and to see how essential a tunnel would have been at the time. And just remember, by clicking back on here onto Google Maps, there was very few houses here. There was a pottery works, but few houses, so it would have been possible, had there been no hill, to build just an open embankment. But going back to Google Maps, you can see here, actually it is quite a significant hill, so you can see the reason for the tunnel. And yeah, so this is looking west, back along Hartshill Tunnel, open embankment here where the park is, back into Newcastle Tunnel there. Back out just here, there we go, probation service, and end of John Street just there. Down there through that car park into what would have been Newcastle under Lime Station. Right, so straight ahead of us where the van is now with the flashy lights there is where the tunnel came back out, the second tunnel. So almost in a line there, so there's a yellow sign just there. Okay, so where that yellow sign is where the second tunnel exit was, the eastern portal. We're stood right now here, right there, we think, is exactly where the western portal of the second tunnel was. Everything here in front of us now, the open where all the kids parks are, was the open middle section between the two tunnels, and obviously the embankment right at the end there is where the first tunnel was, the tunnel closest to Keel, Newcastle under Lime Station and that. Okay, so that was the 4 tunnels of every disused station number 12, the Stoke to Market Drayton. Big thanks for watching. Obviously like, subscribe, share it, tell your friends. We really appreciate your support. We've got all sorts of links in the comment section or the description section below, so have a look at there and you can see our website and our Patreon site and all of that. Next weekend what have we got next weekend, Rebecca?
Well, if you're watching this as it comes out, then we will be starting our Have an Adventure weekend.
Oh yes, of course, yeah. Which is next weekend.
Which is next weekend.
Yes, randomly, that's going to be some clickbait on that. Yeah, it's effectively throwing a dart at a large map.
Yep.
Anyway, so that is next weekend. Yeah, so watch, like, subscribe, comment, and we will see you next week. Thanks for watching. Okay. What?
What the hell was that?
I don't know. I thought it was going to be.
Actually, no, we're going to come around there.
Apparently so. Alrighty. Hello everyone and welcome to our latest tunnel video, which is an accompaniment.
And a what?
Okay.
Okay, yawn again. Not boring. No, that's not boring at all. Just taking you rather a lot.
I know. Right. Tunnel number